When Ghana discovered oil and gas in 2007, there was euphoria everywhere in the country. Everybody was happy. Everybody thought that at least some coins will come into his or her pocket. So people will have different kinds of meetings, getting together, talk, discuss, have ideas as to how we could exploit this natural resource very well. And so we could have the Norwegians coming in to organize programs. We could have other institutions from other countries coming to help us. And everybody was happy. But today we have been summoned here by the Public Interest and Accountability Committee. And this summon is for us not to be too happy, but to discuss something that is of grave concern to all of us. The declining nature of our producing fields currently. Beloved, this is a concern to all of us, and I'm very much happy that PIAC latched on this very situation and decided to put this meeting together. This is a technical consultative workshop. We have invited many people from different institutions with different backgrounds for us to come, have discussions, put ideas together as to how we can reverse this negative trend we are experiencing in our country today. I will not take the words out of the person to do the welcome address, but before we do the welcome address, I would want to invite here the coordinator of PIAC to come and introduce to us the members of PIAC. And as he comes, let's clap for him. And I would also want to mention that we have some partners that have supported PIAC to put this together. And they are the PIAC institution itself. We have the KNUST, we have the Petroleum Commission, we have GNPC, and we have Ghana Gas. These institutions have partnered with PIAC and the Ministry of Energy, our supervising ministry. Sorry, the minister is here. Yeah, I think I'm trespassing. Yes, sorry, Minister. So the Ministry of Energy is actually leading with PIAC in this exercise. And so Mr. Isaac Dramana will introduce the PIAC members to us, and they will continue.
Okay. Thank you very much, Doc. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to this morning's gathering. The PIAC team this morning is led by the chair of the committee, Emerita Professor Elizabeth Adefio Shandoff, member representing the Ghana Academy of Arts and Sciences. We have the vice chair of the committee, member representing the National House of Chiefs, Odefo Amoakwa Boedu the 8th, Paramount Chief of Brema Sikuma Traditional Area and President of the Central Regional House of Chiefs. Not in any particular order, we have Mr. Constantine Kujeji, member representing Christian groups. We have Nana Kwekude, known in private life as Mr. Ransford Tete, member representing the Ghana Journalists Association. We have Mr. Richard Elima, member representing civil society organizations and community-based organizations. We have Mr. Edward Ya. Have Miss Yom Ama Abledu.
And
have Miss Yom Ama Abledu.
And for that, we will invite here the chairperson of PIAC, Professor Emerita Elizabeth Adefio Shandoff, to do this for us. Please, let's clap for her as she comes. Ma'am, let me give you an escort. Very well. Good.
faces here this morning. That makes me very happy. PIAC members, past and present, Honorable Minister of Energy, and Accountability Committee, and on my own behalf, I would want to extend a warm welcome to you all to this critical, technical, constructive, and consultative workshop. I'm pleased to note that after the feverish planning and preparations, the workshop has today seen the light of day. I would like to begin to extend a warm welcome to our 5 partners, namely the Ministry of Energy, the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation, the Ghana National Gas Limited Company, the Petroleum Commission, and the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. Not only sharing in the vision to create a platform to discuss this all-important, a few who have responded our call to be here today. We welcome all participants, and we thank the organizing team drawn from the party and all others who have worked tirelessly to see the program come into fruition. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, since the production of commercial crude oil production in 2010, Ghana has made significant strides, starting with establishing a well-defined regulatory framework. Oil production has increased to over $9,000 billion. And current production, that is 2023 production, stand at more than 48 million barrels. There have also been infrastructure development and investments such as the Atuabo gas processing plant and the Takrady thermal gas pipeline, and many others, too many to mention. Despite these achievements, there are many challenges to be surmounted. The decline in crude oil production has been a concern to PIAC, and I'm sure for the government and the nation as a whole. In its 2022 annual report, PIAC raised the issue of declining crude oil production in Ghana for the period 2020 to 2022, and the need for urgent action to arrest the disturbing trend. In its 2023 annual report, the committee reiterated this recommendation when its action declined. Through its statutory report, it raised the sustainable development of Ghana's petroleum resources to reverse the production decline. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, recognizing the importance of comprehensive approach to consultation, this workshop aims to identify challenges and issues related to the energy transition and sustainability. It seeks to address the decline in crude oil production, explore solutions through technical expertise and collaborative discourse, and chart a way forward. Let me take this opportunity to assure our stakeholders and partners that this technical consultative workshop is not being organized by PIAC under its compliance monitoring mandate. The committee is organizing this workshop in partnership with stakeholders based on networks and collaborations it has built with them through its work. Will therefore be used exclusively for the purpose of this discussion. This is a momentous and historic occasion for all of us to contribute to changing the current narrative that has become a trend for the past 4 years in the petroleum industry. Together, we have the power to achieve what would be impossible alone. I urge all players in the upstream petroleum industry, partners, stakeholders, academia, to collaborate to find an innovative and lasting solution to the decreasing crude oil production in Ghana. I'm confident that our discussions and interventions will lead to meaningful outcomes that will inure to the benefit of the industry and to the citizens of Ghana. As the saying goes, when there is teamwork and collaboration, wonderful things can be achieved. Let us make sure that our deliberations for this work are really productive. I thank you all.
Thank you very much, Professor Emerita Shandorf, for the warm welcome address. Indeed, as you mentioned, this is a momentous and historic occasion for professional minds to come together, discuss, share ideas, and reverse this negative trend. And as you expressed their confidence, I am also confident that something good will come out of this workshop. Thank you very much, Prof. And beyond what we do traditionally, and especially for the fact that this workshop is very important, we need to have someone to be in chair and be responsible, more or less, for everything that we do here today and tomorrow. And so we have here in our midst Miss Jessica Achampong, who is the Senior Communications Officer at PIAC, to come and introduce the chairman for today's occasion. Let's clap for her as she comes.
Good morning, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Well, good morning. Thank you. So I have a very simple task this morning, and it is to introduce our chair for this occasion. So I'll go ahead to read his profile. Our chair is a senior oil and gas professional with over 3 decades of upstream oil and gas industry experience. He has been at the forefront of promoting Ghana's oil and gas potential. He played a key role in the discovery, development, and production of the Jubilee 10, Sankofa Jinyame, and Pecan fields, and has been instrumental in the design and implementation of all upstream oil and gas policies. He played a technical and strategic advisory role in the multidisciplinary team that Ghana established for preparing and putting across her case before the International Tribunal on the Law of the Sea, ITLOS, that delimited the Ghana-Cote d'Ivoire maritime boundary. He has also played a key role in the institutional and regulatory reforms in the sector post the Jubilee oil discovery. Our chairman for this morning has led strategic planning teams on numerous occasions to develop strategies for the energy sector in Ghana. into the petroleum industry and the drafting of a blueprint for Ghana's petroleum industry. He has as well been involved in management duties at the University of Ghana. He served as a member of the management committee of the University of Ghana Business School, the School of Physical and Mathematical Science, and is currently the chair of GMPC Research Chair in Petroleum Geoscience at the Department of Earth Science. He currently serves on the board of GOIL PLC. He has an honorary Doctor of Science degree and an executive MBA degree from the University of Ghana. He also has an MSc degree in exploration geophysics from the Moscow Institute of Exploration Geology. Our chair is currently the vice president in charge of exploration and production for the Springfield Group. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Dr. Thomas Kofi Menu, our chair for this technical consultative workshop, and I have the honor to invite him to give us his welcome address. Thank you.
Good morning. It's indeed a privilege to chair this momentous occasion. Madam Chair for PIAC, thank you for putting together this workshop. I would like to say that all protocol observed so that I don't step on anybody's toes. But to begin with, I will just take a memory, I'll just go along the memory lane a few years back, 18 June 2007. Jubilee Field was formally discovered on the back of a set of regulatory laws, PNDC Law 84, GMPC Law, Petroleum Income Tax Law of 188. Come February 2008, 25th, when the question was put, how do we make this discussion forum? The Norwegians were there, World Bank was there, Azerbaijan was there, Indonesia was there, Commonwealth Secretariat was there, and the Ghanaian professional bodies were also there. A number of steps were taken. One, institutional reforms. Two, enactment of the PRMA, which gave birth to PIAC, and thank you that you played a key role in the management of the resource up to now. There was also the institutional restructuring, which led to the formation of Petroleum Commission, where the regulatory role of GMPC was carved out and given to Petroleum Commission. The environmental was there, and the Ghanaian professional bodies were also there. A number of steps were taken. One, institutional reforms. Two, enactment of the PRMA, which gave birth to PIAC, and thank you that. There was also the institutional restructuring, which led to the formation of Petroleum Commission, where the regulatory role of GMPC was carved out and given to Petroleum Commission. And a new Exploration and Production Act had been passed in 2016. But the question is, why haven't we increased the discoveries? At least, Madam Chair has made it very clear the decline. But to quote the upstream chamber, we peaked production from the 3 fields somewhere in 2019 at 71 million barrels a year. This has declined to about 48 there. Is it from the subsurface? And don't get me wrong, every oil field will decline at a point, because we say that it's finite, it's non-renewable. So every oil well that is producing will decline at a point. But how do companies sustain and improve on the decline? What is our reserve replacement ratio? How have we managed the resources? Is it that the oil down there has finished? No. What has been our production practices? Do we have other areas like in the Eastern Basin, Central Basin, Voltairean Basin that we could invest in? Why are we not investing? Can we improve on what we are producing today, at least to limit and arrest the decline? Because if you don't do it, it will continue going down. So these are critical issues that we must confront. And it's not only in the subsurface or additional investment. The laws we put in place, are they really helping us? Why is it that at the period that we restructured the whole industry, brought in a lot more transparency, because we said that Act 84 was not transparent enough? Why is it that at this time that we are facing all these decline problems? But it's not all that gloomy. From the program that has been outlined, it's designed to tackle all these issues. And looking at the various stakeholders that will be engaged in these discussions, I have no doubt in my mind that at the end of the day, of the 2 days workshop, we will have a very clear roadmap to arresting the decline and increasing the production. So I urge us all to put our shoulders to the wheel and participate fully in the 2 days discussions. Thank you.
Dr. Thomas Menu. Thank you very much. I remember when I joined GNPC in 2007, 2008, thereabout, Dr. Menu was the director of operations. And this man will be at the office 5:30 a.m., 6 a.m. he's there. He's there till everybody leaves. He is a walking temple of ideas. And PIAC, you couldn't have had anyone better to chair this occasion than Dr. Thomas Menu. Let's clap for him. Okay, Menu, thank you very much. I would want to introduce the international oil companies that are producing in Ghana at the moment. Do we have the Chief Executive Officer or his representative from ENI? ENI. Okay, they are not here yet. Oh yeah, Zoo is at the back. All right, thank you very much. I can see Nana Piache from Cosmos Energy. Let's clap for Nana Piache. Nana Piache was also with the GNPC for many years, and he left the shores of Ghana, and he's now back contributing to the development of our country. Do we have the MD or his rep, Talo Ghana Limited? Talo? Very well. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you very much. And of course, for GMPC, GMPC is a partner, and I'm seeing them also as a commercial entity. Do we have the rep of the CEO of GMPC here? I can see my technical man at the back, who is representing the chief executive. Ex-Loco, GMPC subsidiary. I know my Kaite is on the bail. They'll be here shortly. Dr. Chair, Madam PIAC Chair, Honorable Deputy Minister, Nananom, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for us to hear from the Ministry of Energy, our supervising ministry. And the one to do the remarks for us is no other person than Honorable John of Parliament for Mpoho. Honorable, the audience is ready for you.
My able chairman, Dr. Menu, I just asked him whether he has written a book. And he just told me, no, he has not written a book. So I've just charged him that he should write a book. And then detailed how we started, where we are now, and the future of our domestic oil and gas industry. So I've charged him to write a book for the next generation and the future of our young ones to be able to know. Because there's so much in this man that anytime I will meet him, when he speaks, the takeaways that I get from him is enormous. Dr. Tenedi, thank you very much for chairing this program. God bless you. So let him go straight to the reason why I'm here. The chair of the Public Interest and Accountability Committee, Nananum present, the representative of the state-owned enterprises, the representative of the international oil companies, civil society organization present, the academia, the media, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is a laudable of PIAC to take the initiative to bring together Ghana's upstream stakeholders and some of the brightest minds in energy issues to share insights on how to arrest the declining oil and gas production in the country. This initiative will complement the effort of the ministry, the Petroleum Commission, and the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation, who have been embarking on policy reforms, data acquisition, roadshows to overcome this issue. It is a common knowledge that at one point, Ghana's average cumulative daily oil production stood at 200,000 barrels per day, but it has since declined to about 130,000 barrels per day. While gas production has increased since 2019, much the associated gas is re-injected to support oil production. The decline in production is not only due to natural factors, but also technical issues within the field. Despite various efforts, we continue to face challenges with a low reserve replacement ratio. Additionally, internal factors such as the nearly 2 years global pandemic and the shift in focus towards the energy transition have affected our ability to attract investors. These factors have, to some extent, hindered the license ability to fulfill their mandatory work programs, although the capability of some of these licenses have also been called into question. Ladies and gentlemen, the foregoing is a testament to the unique challenges confronting the domestic oil and gas industry. The global energy transition, reduced capital for hydrocarbon projects, and shifting market dynamics are also dictating the pace for oil and gas exploration and production. Unique solutions are imperative to combat the issues at hand. Over the past few years, the government of Ghana has been diligently working to identify opportunities that can accelerate oil and gas production. A key focus has been recognizing the vital role of seismic data in bridging the gap between attracting investors and successful exploration activities. To this point, we have developed targeted policies for the onshore sector and launched initiatives to expedite oil and gas exploitation. We are also empowering the National Oil Company to take leadership in the onshore exploration and seeking regional partnership for financing the oil and gas sector. Additionally, we are collaborating to develop regional infrastructure in the gas sector to encourage the use of natural gas in the region. In the midst of the identified challenges lies opportunities for growth, innovation, and for doing things differently. In our deliberation as stakeholders, we must seek to unlock these opportunities to not only address the current issues, but to pave the way for lasting solutions to our oil and gas exploration and production issues. It is about figuring out the way forward and rolling up our sleeves to turn the tide. How do we keep the upstream sector thriving and not just surviving? How do we make sure that Ghana remains a formidable player in the energy space, creating value for our people and the generations to come? I expect that at the end of this workshop, we will find the answers to these questions. The workshop should be the solutions that will ensure the oil and gas industry continues to contribute to the country's GDP and support economic development. Thank you for your attention. I wish you a fruitful technical consultative workshop. May God bless us all.
Thank you very much, Honorable John Abamsani, the Deputy Minister for Energy. Thank you very much for addressing us this morning. He's also a Member of Parliament for Mpoho. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, at this time we're going to hear some short remarks from our partners, those who have partnered with PIAC to put this together. And the first to be called is KNUST, Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology.
Good morning. The chairperson, chair of PIAC, Honorable Deputy Minister, Nana, CEOs of fellow academics, all protocols observed. Let me say that. It's an honor for me to be here today, leading a team from KNUST to this crucial workshop. I bring you greetings from the Vice Chancellor, Professor Mrs. Rita Akufo-Dixon. As we gather to discuss the recent decline in crude oil production today, it is important for us to note that we are here to learn, we are here to serve, and we are here to build a stronger future for our oil and gas industry. Indeed, oil production decline is a natural aspect of the life cycle of every oil and gas field, and our chair has raised quite a number of questions. Indeed, over the past 14 years, our industry has achieved remarkable successes, particularly in areas like local content and participation. Our industry is predominantly operated by our own local workers who have done very well to maintain and grow the sector, and no one could have done better under the circumstances, and we should be very proud of the effort they have made so far. As we move forward in our discussion, esteemed Chair, I'd like to encourage all of us to approach this challenge with a mindset that is open to finding solutions. The decline we face is not unique to our industry or our country alone. It is a challenge that is experienced by many oil-producing nations worldwide. And for industry players, this may mean reduced output and potential financial strain. For government sector agencies and regulators, this represents a challenge to economic stability and also national revenue. And for academia, it highlights a gap in research and innovation. So let me point out the vital role of academic research in our industry, which is a critical aspect that has often been overlooked. For too long, esteemed Chair, the Ghanaian oil and gas sector has operated without a robust local research and development program. This gap may also have contributed to the challenges we are facing today, including our inability to foresee and mitigate the production decline. Academic research, esteemed Chair, which is a systematic process of inquiry that aims to solve problems, innovate, and generate new knowledge, differs from industry work experience, which focuses on the practical application of existing knowledge. While industry experience is invaluable, it cannot replace the unique insight and long-term problem-solving capabilities that academic research brings. Both are essential, but each plays a distinct role in ensuring the success and sustainability of the industry. Operating an oil and gas field without the support of academic research, esteemed Chair, is akin to navigating without a map. It leaves us reactive rather than proactive and unable to identify potential problems before they escalate. Problem solving in our complex industry requires time, resources, and expertise. And as you may know, these are elements that academia has in abundance. Our universities are filled with experienced researchers, quality postgraduate programs, and valuable laboratory resources, all of which are underutilized in addressing the challenges we face. Academic research is not about replacing the experience of our industry professionals, rather it complements and enhances it. And so by integrating research into our industry practices, we can develop innovative solutions that experienced workers alone might not have the time or resources to explore. We must recognize the potential within our own academic institutions. Indeed, Ghana is home to at least 5 great universities, you may know, with top-tier researchers who are eager and capable of contributing to the oil and gas industry. What we need is the will and the trust to engage with academic research. If we start to actively involve academics, esteemed Chair, we will not only attract experienced researchers to stay or return to Ghana, but would also maximize our resources as minimal funding can yield significant results. The continued research in external funding, the continued increase, in external funding to Ghanaian researchers. We do receive quite a number of grants from outside, and that is a testament to our reliability and our ability to deliver results. To get the best out of us, we must adopt the same rigorous processes that external funding agencies use, and that is transparent proposal evaluations and merit-based funding. We have developed numerous policies and programs to support academic research in the past, but implementation has been quite poor. And so today, I urge you to make a commitment to start putting these plans into action. Companies should contribute whatever resources they can to kickstart this collaboration between academia and industry. And by integrating academic research into industry, we can better anticipate challenges, develop innovative solutions, and ensure a more resilient future for our industry. Esteemed Chair, as I conclude, I hope that we can leave this event with 3 key takeaways. 1, it's an encouragement that we can overcome the challenges we face. 2, it's an empowerment with the knowledge and tools to address them. And then 3, a shared enthusiasm to take a decisive action. Together, as representatives from academia, from industry, from civil society, and government, we all share responsibility for the solutions we seek, and I'm confident that we can rise to the occasion. Thank you very much.
Yes, I've been told to come up so that the camera will capture me. So that is Professor Francis Kamaso. He's a dean of the Faculty of Mechanical. Next to be called is the representative of the Chief Executive of the Petroleum Commission, Mr. Vincent Yankee, who is the Director of Finance, to come and give us his remarks. Let's clap for Vincent.
Good morning, all. Of course, the venerable professor has spoken, and Dr. Menu has also spoken. So all protocols duly observed. Greetings from the Chief Executive Officer of the Petroleum Commission. He's out of town on an equally important engagement, and he's asked that we make a statement on his behalf because he considered this very, very important. Incidentally, the Petroleum Commission takes this dwindling oil reserves very seriously. And as we speak now, there's a team actually at the Commission, of which I'm part, working on various aspects of arresting this scenario that we find ourselves in. Now, I asked him whether he had any speech to be read on his behalf, and he mentioned that there are 3 key areas that he may want us to convey to PIAC. And those 3 areas are the fact that for the existing producing fields, we want to enhance the production because, as we mentioned in Dr. Menu's address, that there's a decline in the production levels. And for that, technically, we are looking at the infrastructure-led production processes with our partners. And of course, I don't want to go into the technical bits of things, but we are keeping our eye on the ball as to how to enhance production. We're also looking forward. By looking forward, we are saying, what should we do to attract investors who bring their funds into the country? And for that, we realize that one key area that we can look at is our fiscal terms. And so for now, we are looking at how best we can insert. And so there's a team that is working on that as well. And hopefully we'll present an advisory paper to the minister. Now, in the current talk on energy transition, certainly there is a lot of competing forces for investment capital. And so every forum that we have attended across the world, there's a need, there's always a talk of moving funds from our industry to new sources of energy, the cleaner ones. And so there is a need to compromise, to make certain adjustments. If it means giving out something to get something, that is what the Commission seeks to do. And for that, we are looking at how Ghana is going to be hit after giving certain, in fact, we are going back to pre-2010 periods where we had to incentivize as many as possible, which led to the Jubilee Field discovery. And so certainly, there's going to be a conversation on that. And for that, the Chief Executive says that the theme that we are about to discuss is in line with what the Commission also seeks to do. And he wishes all of us the best of discussions, and hopefully the communique that is going to come out, the Commission will certainly make sure that we implement. I thank you very much on behalf of the Chief Executive Officer.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vincent Yankee, the Director of Finance at the Petroleum Commission. He controls the cash. So if you need cash, please see him. But don't tell him that I told you to see him. Thank you very much, Mr. Yankee. The next to be called is the General Manager Engineering, Ghana National Petroleum Corporation, representing the CEO, Mr. Sunu Atta. Victor.
Good morning, Honorable Minister, PURC executives, our partners, Talo, Cosmos, and the rest. Honorable Minister, good morning, and let me greet my former boss and who is always my boss, Mr. Thomas Menu, especially. He's a doyen in the industry, and making him the chairman of this event is apt, because once upon a time he was slugging it out on the other side in GMPC. Today he's on the other side talking to us, and we do have some very, very interesting conversations. I recall one time he was trying to push an operator's position, and some young guys told him, this is what you taught us. Have it. We had a good laugh. But I'm so grateful to be here today to talk about the very existence of the industry, our lifeblood reserves. And before I go on, I bring greetings from my chief executive, Mr. Joseph Abuabudazi, who's been taking out on an equally important assignment. So remarks. When I joined GMPC some years back, some people told us we'll never find oil. But as oil people, it can be quite conflicting. You don't see anything, no production, but you're still there, working every day to get oil and gas for the country. And it was more important because our oil and gas bills those days, I would say oil bills those days, was quite high, and was a huge chunk of the economy. Then come 2007, they had a huge commercial fine, something so big that we ourselves couldn't believe it. 15 kilometers long, 5 kilometers across, no closure. The risk became a blessing, the no closure. And the Jubilee field was born. And today, we are producing from that field, which is giving us all we have. And we built an FPSO, or floating production storage and offloading vessel, so quickly that we need to babysit it, because it was done so quickly with little data. And up to today, Talo, the operator, is doing a good job, but still keeping that infrastructure going and producing the oil and gas we need. In fact, that discovery unlocked the sub-region, and there were other discoveries following it, not just in Ghana, but in other countries. Today we are here. Jubilee has served us well. 10 came online. Jinyami Sankofa came. And we had a dream that every 4 years we'll be developing. But unfortunately, the 4 years was just 3. Jubilee 10 and Jinyami Sankofa. Pecan were hoping to develop in 2020, 2021, but we all knew what happened. And it's still challenged up to today. Today we are going to discuss with you, or we are all going to sit together and discuss how we unlock other resources that we have, especially in the eyes of, or in the storms of transition, where global funding is saying that, look, this industry that has served everybody well and made the world so nice to live in and given us so much wealth, you are the bad boys, so we'll not give you money. How do we tell our story? How do we keep developing this resource, which is still serving the world, that we can get funding to it, and at the same time serve the energy needs of the world. And how do we do that in the face of the hailstorms of transition, renewables? In Ghana, Jubilee peaks and then we bring something in, it goes up again, and then we are facing challenges of decline, we'll bring in something again, I'm sure. And then we'll keep going. 10 has a lot of gas, but there's no market. So a lot of people see 10 as declining. Meanwhile, there is a resource there that we can tap into. Ginyami Sankofa, just like Jubilee, although Ginyami is not that great as Jubilee, the operator there finds ways and means, ENI, to keep the oilage or to keep the FPSO filled and to keep producing gas. Now, in the discussion, one of the contexts we need to look at, what do we have? We have loads of gas, and we have an indigenous market as well as a regional market that needs that gas. Let's look at that in the discussion, so that we don't throw our hands in the air. Oh, from these 3 fields, all is finished, all is done. No. Again, we have most of the licenses expiring in 2023, the production licenses. Meanwhile, there'll be gas there. Some amount of oil that will need some tweaking to bring up. We need to look at that. That, again, immediately we unlock that, changes the reserves numbers. Then we have prospects that both partners, that's Etalo, ENI, Pecan, and others, Eco Atlantic, you name them, Springfield, they all have prospects that are there that we need to bring online. How do we do it in the headwinds of no money from the banks? There is a way we can do it. The bank says include, how do you call it, renewables. So let's look at that. And again, how do we fund this from Ghana? How do we empower GMPC to bring some of those resources online? Because that's the way many, many countries are going. They are empowering their national oil company to bring those resources online so that we can power Ghana, the sub-region, and Africa for that matter, for the economic heavens that we are looking for. There will be many discussions here. My team from GMPC, vibrant young men that we are handing over to Mr. Thomas, I'm joining you at the end of the year, but which is a very good discussion. And PIAC, we say kudos for organizing this so that we can discuss this very existence of the oil matter on a platform like this. So I want to say ayeko and thank you to PIAC, and thank you for everybody for coming. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Victor Sunuata, General Manager Engineering, Ghana National Petroleum Corporation. And with this set of remarks, the last but not the least will be from Mr. Abdul Mubarak Duty, representing the CEO of Ghana National Gas Company. Abdul Mubarak, yes, let's clap for him as he comes. He's the manager accounts at Ghana Gas.
Good morning. Honorable Minister, all protocols observed. As you heard, our CEO is also engaged in another equally important activity. So he has asked that we share with you in solidarity for the discussions we are going to have here. As the saying goes, we all are aware that the energy industry, the oil and gas sector, is the engine of the growth of this country of ours. Whether we like it or not, it is the parable of a cooking pot. We all feed from it. And then we have a family head in the name of PIAC. PIAC has seen that the cooking pot, the water level is going down. The food that is supposed to feed all of us is also going down. The cooking pot is tilted. We can only hope that it doesn't pour. Fortunately, the time is ripe, and once the family head has brought us together, we can only be happy to be part of this occasion. So from our CEO,
We are happy to be part of this, and the experts we know, Ghana Gas, GMPC, PIAC, and all the rest of the members of the family are gathered here to make sure that our tilted cooking pot is back in shape so that we can all feed from it. So we thank you, and we are going to give the little we can, that at the end of the day, we will have a happy family that will feed all of us in the industry and the nation at large. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Abdul Mubarak of Ghana National Gas Company. Thank you very much. Everyone is a dignitary here today, and I'm happy for that. And there are notable ones amongst us also. And as and when I receive the details from those at the back end, I would introduce them. But I can see Dr. Mantiao, who is a former PIAC chair with us. Dr. Mantiao, in fact, anytime we see her after she left us, we get so happy. Dr. Juliet Chumesi Anoche. Dr. Juliet was a consultant, local content, and all the things that we see here today, local content, participation, localization, she was right there from the beginning, helping the commission put all that together. Let's clap for her. And I also want to say that she has recently been called to the Council of the ECOWAS Regional Competition Authority. Congratulations, Dr. J. Congratulations. She has a PhD in law. And those times, anytime I see her, I say, so you, how do you do it? This your head, PhD in law. Hey, Doc, thank you very much. And I can also see Madam Cynthia Lumo with us. Cynthia is the Deputy Managing Director at Talo Ghana Limited. And many of you don't know that Cynthia was a top lawyer at GMPC. We joined GMPC at the same time when we all came back from the US. And then she left us, went to MTN, and now back into the industry. Cynthia, thank you very much for coming. Yeah, let's clap for her. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished ladies and gentlemen here, it is now time for us to hear from our keynote speaker. And the keynote speaker will speak on the overview of crude oil production in Ghana, the journey so far. Our keynote speaker is a lawyer by profession and an expert in energy law and policy. The keynote speaker is a lecturer at the UCC School of Oil and Gas. Ladies and gentlemen, may I introduce to you Mr. Constantine K.M. Kujedi, who is also a PIAC member. Let's clap for him as he comes. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. And good morning to all of you. May I say, before my dean chastises me, that I also teach at the Faculty of Law, UCC. If you don't mention that, my dean will ask me, why is it that I didn't also say I teach at the faculty, at least to also project the image of the faculty. So that is an addition to that.
Thank you. We take notice of that, sir.
Mr. Chairman, Dr. Thomas Kofi Menu, Honorable John Kwabnaban Abuasani, Deputy Minister for Energy, Chair and members of the Public Interest and Accountability Committee, PIAC, past chairs and past members, industry experts, stakeholders, the media, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning once again. It is indeed a privilege and an honor for me to deliver this keynote address on the overview of crude oil production in Ghana, the journey so far. At this all-important technical consultative workshop, which seeks to discuss and find an antidote to reverse the declining trend of crude oil production in Ghana in recent years. I am particularly grateful to the chair of PIAC, Professor Emerita Elizabeth Adefio-Shandorf, and the PIAC team for counting me worthy and nominating me to fulfill this task. The subject for deliberations of the next 2 days is indeed a national concern and crucial to the future of Ghana's upstream oil and gas industry. The conveners, PIAC, and its partners, Ghana National Petroleum Corporation, Ghana National Ghana Gas Limited, KNUST, Petroleum Commission, and the Ministry of Energy are worth commending for providing the platform to discuss this trend and attempt to provide solutions to safeguard Ghana's upstream oil and gas industry. I wish to take us to some history of the upstream petroleum industry in Ghana. Ghana's upstream petroleum exploitation history dates back to its pre-independence era, precisely in 1896, when oil seepages were found onshore around the Tano Basin of Nzemaland in the western region of Ghana. 21 shallow exploratory and subsequently production wells were drilled without the benefit of detailed geological understanding or subsurface data by the then West African Oil and Fuel Company between 1896 to 1903 in the Takinta concession, with a depth of 35 meters, with a production of just 5 barrels a day between 1896 and 1897. In 1967, there was an attempt to expand petroleum exploration into offshore basins, leading to the discovery in 1970 of the Sopon field in the central region by the Signal Amoco Group. The field was estimated to hold commercial quantities of hydrocarbons, and the discovery marked a major milestone in the development of the country's oil and gas resources. Following this discovery, mega production began in 1973 with Agripetco as the operator of that field. This Sopon field was relatively small, but it represented a key step for Ghana in the upstream oil and gas industry as an oil-producing country. Production was as low as 600 barrels per day, making it economically less viable. Over time, production of the field peaked in the early 1980s, producing about 4,800 barrels of oil per day. As production continued, output, however, started declining due to aging infrastructure and depleted reserves. And by the early 2000s, the field's production had declined significantly, culminating in its decommissioning from 2021. And indeed, the field is still undergoing decommissioning. While the Sopon field is no longer in production and is currently being decommissioned, it holds historical importance as one of the early commercial oil finds in Ghana, which paved the way for later discoveries in the country and undoubtedly holds invaluable data for continuous use by the industry. Following the success of offshore exploitation of petroleum in the Sopon field, efforts were made to put in place and build the institutional capacity, as well as the statutory and legal framework that will streamline and accelerate the country's exploration and production efforts. These led to the enactment of Ghana's Petroleum and Exploration Law, 1984, PNDC Law 84. Prior to this, the country's national oil company, the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation, had been established under the GNPC Law 1983, PNDC Law 64, with a mandate to regulate and undertake the exploration, development, production, and disposal of petroleum in Ghana. I must say that this regulatory mandate has since 2011 passed on to the Petroleum Commission of Ghana. With these interventions, exploration was properly planned, undertaken, and sustained, leading to greater interest and participation of international oil companies in Ghana's sedimentary basins and numerous discoveries offshore. In 2004, Ghana entered into a petroleum agreement with Cosmos Energy, Ghana, and the EO Group in respect of the West Cape 3 Points block. In June and September 2007, significant commercial quantities of oil were, however, discovered 60 kilometers offshore Takoradi, Ghana, in the Cape 3 Points block of the Cape 3 Points Basin and the adjacent Deepwater Tunnel block in the Tunnel Basin, respectively, under two distinct petroleum agreements. With these discoveries straddling the two blocks, a unitization agreement was executed to produce the oil from this field, named the Jubilee Field, as one unit. With proven reserves of 600 million barrels, the Jubilee Field was estimated to contain recoverable reserves of at least 600 million to 1.8 billion barrels of high-quality crude oil of 37.6 degree American Petroleum Institute standard API of 95 meters net pay, with an upside potential of 3 billion to 800 billion cubic feet of gas, and was set to produce 120,000 barrels of oil per day from November 2010 and 250,000 barrels daily from 2013. This discovery marked Ghana's largest oil discovery in commercial quantities. And with the estimated production, Ghana could be earning revenue of about $1 billion annually from that field alone, with a daily net export of 184,000 barrels from 2013. This field was officially commissioned in 2010, and production began shortly afterwards in December 2010, making Ghana a key hub for investment in the global oil and gas market, with Tullow Ghana as the operator of this unified field. Ghana's president at the time, His Excellency John Agyekum Kufuor, referred to this discovery as a potential turning point that could transform Ghana into an African tiger with rapid economic growth like that seen in some African countries. Following this discovery, there were other discoveries between 2009 and 2011, to wit the Chunibwa and Ntomi fields, 10 fields that comprise 10 separate hydrocarbon pools in the western part of the Deepwater Tunnel contract area, with estimated reserves of 240 million barrels of oil and 3 billion cubic feet of natural gas, which cluster was approved for development in 2013, with first oil being produced in August 2016. Further discoveries were made on the Sankofa and East fields in 2012. These fields and the Ginyame field make up the Sankofa SGN field in the offshore Cape 3 Points block, with about 770 million barrels of oil and 270 cubic feet of non-associated gas. Oil production in the SGN field commenced in 2017. With the history given, we now have to look at efforts to drive exploration and production of crude oil. These discoveries, ladies and gentlemen, made Ghana join the League of Oil Producers. And since then, there have been a series of concerted efforts to drive this exploitation. The first was the amendment of the Exploration and Production Law, which dated back to 1984. The need to amend this law arose as it was not fit for purpose in the face of changes in the upstream oil and gas industry. This amendment was, however, delayed until 2016, when the outdated law was replaced with the Petroleum Exploration and Production Act 2016, Act 919. From the amendment and promulgation of Act 919, both direct negotiations and an open, transparent, and competitive public tender process for oil and gas blocks were instituted. This resulted in Ghana's first licensing round, launched in October 2018, with 6 blocks available to be awarded. 3 of these blocks were to be awarded through an open and competitive bidding process. The default process, in line with Section 10.3 of Act 919. 2 blocks were to be awarded through direct negotiations in line with Section 10.9 of the same Act, whilst 1 block was allocated to GMPC per Section 7.9 of the Act to explore on a sole risk basis or in partnership with a strategic partner. 16 companies expressed interest and submitted 60 applications, out of which 2 companies were disqualified mainly based on inadequate technical experience, lack of financial competence, and the fact that they submitted bids reserved for the national company. Following this, the 14 pre-qualified companies were invited by the government of Ghana through the licensing bid rounds and negotiation committee to make formal bid submissions by May 2019. Only 3 companies submitted their bids: Tuwetalo, Ghana, and Vitol. The bids were publicly opened on the same day, and the successful bidders were announced after 11 days. FEX Exploration and Petroleum Development Company, in partnership with Elandal Energy Limited, at its local partner, won the bid for one of the blocks, whereas Ghana Exploration and Production Limited, in partnership with Vitol Upstream Tunnel Limited, were selected as winners of another block, precisely GHWB03. Even though negotiations with the bid owners began soon after the announcement, as of now, this has not been concluded, hence, no new petroleum agreement has been signed. Participation in oil and gas roadshows. Through the Ministry of Energy and other state institutions, such as the Petroleum Commission and GMPC, the government of Ghana has participated in several oil and gas roadshows to market oil blocks available offshore Ghana and attract upstream petroleum industry. Some of these roadshows are the African Houston Energy Summit, the Ghana Oil and Gas Roadshow held in the United Kingdom, and the Offshore Technical Conference, OTC, in the United States of America. Let us now look at the current crude oil production profile of Ghana. And ladies and gentlemen, before I delve into that, and without showing any disrespect to industry experts, I just want to take a brief look on the life cycle of a petroleum field. The life cycle of a petroleum field can be broadly categorized into 3 phases: the build-up stage, the plateau, and the decline stage, which are essential in planning the development, production, optimization, and decommissioning of a petroleum project. The cycle of a field begins with the build-up phase, where discovery is made, development is undertaken, and production starts at a low pace, then rises steadily. Effort. The plateau phase is when there is maximum production, what we call peak production from the field. This production rate is sustained to achieve consistent production for a longer period, and measures are put in place to maximize recovery and maintain profitability. Eventually, as has been pointed out by the other speakers, When the natural pressure of the reservoir drops, the decline phase is experienced with lower production rates. At this stage, additional techniques such as enhanced oil recovery techniques and methods are employed to augment the productive life of the field. Over time, as the resource is finite, the field becomes economically less viable, the resource is depleted, and the field is decommissioned and abandoned. The declining trend. In 2019, Ghana witnessed its peak in crude oil production since inception, recording a volume of 71,439,585 barrels, from the initial production of about 1.5 million barrels in 2010 through to about 62 million barrels in 2018 annually. This declined to 66,926,806 barrels in 2020, representing a decline of 6.3%. Crude oil production further declined to 55,050,391 barrels, 51,756,481 barrels, and 48,247,036 barrels of oil in 2021, 2022, and 2023, respectively. So the latest figure is 48,247,036 barrels. These represented 17.75%, 5.98%, and 6.78% decline, respectively. The 2023 production figure, therefore, represents since 2010. Over the last 4 years, this declining trend has sparked concerns about the future of Ghana's upstream petroleum industry, and that if these challenges on the producing fields culminating in this decline are not addressed, with new fields being brought on board or investments attracted, then the sustainability of Ghana's upstream petroleum industry will be adversely affected, thereby jeopardizing the anticipated returns and appropriate share of the oil wealth to stakeholders, especially the state resource owner. As an accountability watchdog over the management and use of the revenues arising out of crude oil production, PIAC has reiterated its concern over the declining trend of crude oil production in its latest 2023 annual report on the management and use of petroleum revenues. Let me highlight at this stage some factors which may be accountable to the decline. Mature fields. Jubilee Field, Ghana's flagship Jubilee oil field, which started produce. However, like many oil fields, Jubilee is experiencing natural production declines as it matures after 14 years of production. Production peaked earlier on in the first 9 years and has since been on a downward trend. The 10 fields have also experienced similar trends. The Sankofa Ginyame field, the same. While these fields boosted overall output after coming on stream, they are beginning to follow a natural decline curve. And unless further investments are made to enhance production, your guess is as good as mine. However, it is worth noting that unlike the 10 field, the SGN field is predominantly gas producing, as highlighted earlier on by the rep of GNPC. Limited underinvestment in exploration and production, limited new discoveries. Ghana has not made significant new oil discoveries recently, which is key for sustaining long-term production. Exploratory activities have dropped, partly due to the global transition from fossil fuels and partly due to underinvestment by both the government and international oil companies. Operational and technical challenges. There have been technical challenges at some of the production facilities, particularly with equipment malfunctions and maintenance delays. These have contributed to lower than expected output from existing oil fields. Infrastructure issues. The lack of adequate infrastructure for oil and gas processing, transport, and storage limits production capacity. Delays in projects such as gas processing plant expansion have slowed down production rates. Global energy transition issues. Shift away from fossil fuels. The global energy transition, with increasing emphasis on renewable energy, has created uncertainty in the future of crude oil demand. This has influenced the willingness of investors in long-term oil exploration and production projects in oil-producing nations like Ghana. While efforts are being made to address these issues, the long-term sustainability of oil production in Ghana remains uncertain unless new and significant reserves are found. Implications of the decline. Economic impact. The most immediate effect of this decline is a reduction of revenue from oil and gas production. Although petroleum revenue on average constitutes about 7% of total government revenue, Ghana is reliant on petroleum revenue as a major driver of economic growth. In periods when crude prices are low and crude oil production consistently declines, this can lead to significant budget deficits from the revenue shortfall. This will make it challenging for the government to fund essential services such as healthcare, education, and infrastructure projects, which slows down overall economic growth and development decline. This will end in Ghana's upstream petroleum industry and can result in a phenomenon known as stranded assets in the face of the global energy transition. Investment shifts. Large institutional investors, including pension funds and sovereign wealth funds, are pulling out of fossil fuel financing of oil companies due to environmental concerns and long-term risks. As investment flows toward renewable energy and green technologies, capital for capital-intensive oil exploration and production projects diminishes. Stranded assets. As renewable technologies become more cost competitive and public policy shifts towards decarbonization, oil reserves and infrastructure risks becoming stranded assets, where investments in oil production and infrastructure may no longer generate returns. Going forward, Mr. Chairman, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, to effectively address the decline in crude oil, Ghana needs a multi-pronged strategy focused on economic diversification, sustainable exploitation of its petroleum resources, promotion of renewable energy, and development of local industries. Whilst building a resilient economy and embracing the global energy transition, cognizant of its development needs, Ghana must also ensure sustainability of its upstream oil and gas industry. It is my fervent hope that over the next 2 days, we will brainstorm and come up with specific solutions to address the decline through the various technical sessions. As I conclude, let me reiterate that since 2020, crude oil production in Ghana has been declining by an average of 9.2%. This decline may be due to technical and operational challenges experienced in the producing fields, mature fields, and infrastructure challenges. Again, it has been noted that there has been limited investment in Ghana's upstream petroleum sector, as no petroleum agreement has been signed since 2018. The global energy transition has further shifted investments in fossil fuels, thereby raising the need for Ghana to take advantage of its resources before it is too late. I have equally sought to draw attention to the dire consequences this decline will have on the economy and the general well-being of citizens if this situation is not arrested. This raises the need for urgent action by stakeholders. Over the next 2 days, let us engage in open dialogue, share insights, develop strategies that will lead to actionable outcomes from this workshop. We require innovation and more collaboration to navigate the challenges our oil industry is currently facing. Thank you all, and I wish you all fruitful deliberations. God bless our homeland, Ghana. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Constantine Kujedi, who is energy expert and a lecturer at UCC Faculty of Law. Thank you very much. And I think he has laid a very nice foundation for us to have discussions and share ideas on as we go into technical discussions. Thank you very much, Mr. Guest Speaker. I do have a few notable guests with us, and I would want to introduce them. We have in our midst Mr. David Ampofo, who is the CEO of the Upstream Petroleum Chamber. Yes, David, thank you very much for coming. David is my good friend. Thank you. We also have in our midst the first PIAC chair, Major Daniel Ablo Kwako, retired. Major, thank you very much for coming. Thank you. We have a former PIAC vice chair, Kwame Jantua. Kwame Jantua's nickname is Slomboje, so when you see him, call him Slomboje. Thank you very much for coming, Kwame. We also have in our midst Mr. Noble Waja. He's also a former PIAC chair. Mr. Waja, very well. Thank you very much for coming. We have Dr. Emmanuel Tenkrang, a former PIAC member. Thank you, Doc, for coming. We have Mr. Eric Defo, a former PIAC member. Mr. Eric Defo, thank you very much for coming. We have also in our midst Dr. Ibrahim Latte, who is the current PIAC member and also representing Muslim groups. Thank you very much, Dr. Ibrahim Latte. We have Dr. Kwame Ajiman Budu, who is the former MD of ECG. Dr. Kwame Ajiman Budu, yeah, thank you very much for coming. And we also have Dr. Need Dako Asante, who is also an energy expert. Thank you very much for coming. With the institutions that are with us, of course, I've mentioned the partners that are helping PIAC put this together. But we have in our midst Ghana Academy of Arts and Sciences. We have the Department of Geography and Resource Development, University of Ghana. We have the District Assembly Common Fund. We have, of course, I mentioned the partners, the Jubilee partners, the 10 partners. We've mentioned ENI. Bank of Ghana is with us. We have the Ghana Revenue Authority. We have the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission. We have GIZ. We have Ghana Institution of Engineers. As and when I get those that are here, we will recognize them. Dr. Chairman, I think if, with your permission, it is a good time for us to have some refreshment, if you wouldn't mind. Very well. So, Chairman has given us the permission. We're going to break for about 15-20 minutes for refreshment. Yes.